when I was much younger, growing up here in Hauppauge, I look forward to this time somewhere in the fall, at this time of the year, where I was waiting for something to come in the mail. And it always would come, and that something special was the Sears Wish Book. Remember that? We used to get the Sears Wish Book. Conveniently, you got that a couple of months before Christmas so that you could start going over it and getting in your head all the things that you were going to ask for Christmas. This book was amazing. It was about 250 pages of beautiful four-color pictures of household items and, of course, a lot of toys. A great book, a great memory of all those years of being a youngster and looking forward to these things. Great marketing on the part of Sears, of course, right? To kind of create this need, create this desire, implanted in our heads and in our hearts that we need this stuff. We really need this stuff. It's very interesting because a store like Sears will basically say, we're working this out so that you feel like you need us. But in reality, the store really needs the consumer, right? Yeah, they really need us to be in that store buying all the time. And as the economy goes, of course, stores don't last forever. And so I go through this exercise sometimes of thinking of all the stores that we used to have, even in our town here, right, that are no longer. And you can rattle off a whole bunch of them, like let's just name a couple: Corvettes, Abraham and Strauss, Robert Hall, Wall Bombs, right? I could probably go around and we could take 10 minutes and we can get a whole long list of all these wonderful stores that needed us and they've vanished. They're no longer there because times have changed and we've moved on and we're consumers of other products right now. And those stores have vanished and, they really needed us and, when we're not there, we're someplace else. It's completely different with God. I remember growing up and learning this sort of truth about God, and it sounds kind of cold. God doesn't need us. I remember learning this, saying, what is that all about? And so you kind of get into it a little more, and if you study philosophy or theology for sure, you learn a little bit more about why this is, and it makes perfect sense. God is infinite. God is perfection, the essence of being. God can't be any greater than he already is. We're his creation, so we can't add to God because he's infinite. Can't make him any better than he already is, right? So we can't do that. So God is already the greatest that ever will be, infinite, always will be. But our perspective to God, we need God. We need him so much. And of course, we probably know this, St. Augustine, his famous quote that, we were made for God. And our hearts are restless until they rest in him. We know this. We have this desire for something beyond what we can see, and we try to fulfill it sometimes in the things that we can purchase or power that we can get, created things of this world. But really, the deep longing we have is for God. And sometimes we cry out to God, "Don't you know that I need you, God? Don't you know that? I need you." It's kind of what blind Bartimaeus was doing in that reading that we just heard from Mark's 10th chapter, Mark's Gospel. Very interesting. He had a need. Bartimaeus had a need. He wanted to be able to see. And so he basically cried out to Jesus to have pity on me. It's kind of the same way that we do when we are just having a rough day or a rough year or whatever it is that we're going through, and we call out to God that, "Don't you know that I need you, God? Where are you?" Right? Where are you? Bartimaeus could not see but knew that Jesus was there and called out to him, "Son of David, have pity on me." Then I found it very interesting. If you didn't pay attention, you might not have noticed that. What does Bartimaeus do? He takes his cloak off. He kind of exposes himself. Any of the wrappings, the trappings of the world, he just gets rid of. And he says, "This is who I am, Lord. I'm here and I'm asking for you." And of course, Jesus knows exactly who he is and knows the great faith that he has and sends him on his way. His eyesight is restored. He's healed. What does that sight restored to Bartimaeus do for him? Of course, it allows him now to be able to see and become a functioning member of society. But it allows him to kind of come back to the community that would have shunned him because he was different, because he couldn't see. Now he could be part of that communion, that community of his friends and his family. And this is what Jesus does for all of us. In fact, that healing of Bartimaeus is one of many examples of the foreshadowing of what Jesus will do on the cross. We're going to celebrate this, after 40 some odd days as we go through Lent, and we're going to celebrate Good Friday, and we're going to celebrate Easter Sunday, and we're going to remember once again that Jesus did all of this for us because we cry out to him that we know that we need him, and he heals us. He brings that healing to us. We need our eyes to be opened to the truth. Right? So as we come into Lent now, as we prepare ourselves, whatever sort of spiritual practices that we might partake in, it'll probably start here tomorrow for most of us as we receive ashes. Maybe we'll be following the Hallow app this Lent. I certainly will. But whatever we do, we're going to be coming to God. We're going to be coming to Jesus and saying, don't you know I need you, Lord? And Jesus is going to say yes. He's going to ask us to look in our hearts. So what is it? What is it that needs healing in our lives right now? What's going on? Are we having difficulties with a friend or family member? Are we kind of blind to the truth and kind of getting sucked into all the political memes and the different ways of the world, whatever it might be? We're kind of getting sucked into the vortex of the way the world wants us to think that we know really isn't right, but you kind of can't avoid it. What is it? What is it that we need to be healed of? Where do our eyes need to be open to see the beauty and the truth of who God is, who will always love us, who is the greatest, that we cannot add to his greatness, but we can glorify him, and we can ask him to be there for us. So, brothers and sisters, as we enter into Lent, and tonight as we have this opportunity once again to come into the presence of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, let's find it okay to cry out to Jesus, Lord, don't you know that I need you? And perhaps we say that knowing that we really wish that we could have the Sears wish book, that we could have this wish book, that we could just look in it and just get anything that we want to help us, and know that none of those things will help us. But what will really help us is Christ, especially in the Eucharist, especially in the sacrament of reconciliation. Excellent opportunity during Lent to go to that sacrament and be truly healed, to have those burdens taken off of our shoulders. So that as we become healed, we can say, Jesus, don't you know I need you? And then our ears can be open and we can hear Jesus talking back to us. Jesus saying, yes, I know that. Your eyes are open. Look, here I am.